Okay, you cannot, the point is you cannot, in the case where you've killed the child in that way, or in the case of my accident, I wasn't charged with anything for the very simple reason that it was quite obvious from the scene. And also, by the way, I had passengers on my bus who also said what had happened. I don't know whether the other driver was pissed or whatever, but just came out onto a main road straight across in front of me. Must have been doing about 30 miles an hour. I mean, I just caught a flash of it in my eyes. And the road that it was heading for was a very short cul-de-sac with a railway line at the other end of it. So quite what they were doing, trying to get down that at 30 miles an hour, I don't know. I think they just must have been pissed. It's Christmas Eve. But I never heard any more about it. Certainly didn't prosecute me. In the case of a child running out with a ball, you are not to blame. If there's any blame in that circumstance, I think it's pretty obvious. It's the parents who allowed the child to get into that situation. They're the guilty party. So there is a reasonable cut-off. You cannot drive around at 1 mile an hour everywhere just in case a car comes out in front of you or a child runs out in front of you with a ball. That would be totally unreasonable. Whether or not 30 miles an hour or speed limits are valid or not is another argument. But certainly, the speed limit argument is something else. No deliberate loss to anyone else. Again, the same thing. You don't steal from other people. You don't take their property. Okay, because that causes rancor, causes arguments. They might come round with a few mates and do some damage to you or to members of your family. That's not living in peace. So you don't steal, you don't take other people's property. Once again, deliberately, as far as possible by accident. But at the end of the day, if you find something and it's obviously been there for years and you think you can use it and obviously nobody else wanted it, hey, finders keepers. No deliberate breach of another's peace. Do not play rock music loudly at 3 a.m. when you've got paper-thin walls and the couple next door have managed to get their young baby to sleep, and so on. Loads and loads of possible breaches of peace. Bailiffs knocking on your door is a breach of your peace. No deliberate deviousness or mischief in your promises, agreements and arrangements. Say what you mean what you say. I said I would come here tonight. I came here tonight because I promised to do it. Fundamentally, to act responsibly. Oh, and so, by the way, you came here tonight, which is very kind of you. Fundamentally, to act responsibly towards all others and to be prepared to take responsibility for all your actions. Don't go around blaming other people. It's very easy to blame other people. You've got to learn to accept the blame. In other words, just plain, ordinary, common sense. Where does the common law come from? Okay. Well, we heard a judge say it comes from judges make the common law. One judge said that. Just shows how much he knew. It's the common sense of land dwellers to live together in peace. So where do you think it comes from? A lot of people say it comes from the Bible. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, because a lot of the Old Testament is all about, keeping your child's sacrifices up to date and stuff. Otherwise, the Lord is going to get upset. And, making sure that you sacrifice, children and bulls and things like that. I picture the situation. There's a caveman, right? And he's out there hunting animals for food, okay? And one day, there's another caveman appears on the scene. And you've got a caveman and you've got a caveman, you've got the animal between the two. And the animal can't go that way and it can't go that way. Whichever way it goes, it's going to meet its end. So it tries, it gets killed, and then there might be a fight between the two cavemen as for the spoils. Okay, that's true, first time. But after a while, common sense will kick in, won't it? Oh, if I stand there and you stand there, and this is a canyon, and the animal is in the middle, if we cooperated, we could make sure that we feed ourselves. So what we do is we'll kill the animal, we'll share the spoils. And then they find that works extremely well. Then a third caveman appears on the scene, and it works even better. Common sense. And then we get groups building up to tribes, clans, tribes, and so on. And then it's still working the same way. Common sense is kicking in all the time. You don't kill the men in your tribe because that tribe over the hill might start to attack you, and you need the men in your tribe to fight beside you. You don't kill the women in your tribe because you need them to bring more men into the tribe. Common sense is kicking in all the time, I believe. Right. How is it made then? How is it made? Now it's been kind of established and documented by the Magna Carta. See, all that common sense built up to aggravation and so on, which culminated in the Magna Carta. I mean, I actually live in London, about 5 miles from Runnymede, where the Magna Carta was signed, as a matter of fact. Not that that's of any particular importance. But how is it made? Well, it's made by the verdicts of juries of 12. I mean, I've specified the 4 basics, but as I'm sure you're well aware, there's a lot of ifs and buts in specific situations, of course. So we do need juries of 12, impartial people, just picked at random, to use their own common sense for specific circumstances. But they hear evidence from both sides, the accused and the accuser, which must be based on first-hand knowledge. Witnesses on the stand are made to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under penalty of perjury, which means it doesn't stop them from lying, but it does mean, this is why the situation is not 100% perfect, but it does mean that if they're caught out in a lie, they will receive a prison sentence like various people, some prominent people like Lord Archer, and Jonathan Aitken and people like that, okay? Yes, they lied when they shouldn't have done, and they did jail time. I mean, in case of Archer, of course, he just wrote a crap book and made a fortune, but that's another story. But the important thing is that information from the witnesses is based on first-hand knowledge. Do you see the person in this court who hit the other person over the head with a lump of 4B2? Yes, it was him, my lord. I saw it with my own eyes. Now, that witness doesn't need to know the name of the accused or the accuser. Might just have been walking down the street and seen an incident. Didn't know either party, but prepared to witness it and prepared to say it was him what done it in court. No names, just knowledge, first-hand knowledge. So that's the first way, juries of 12. The second way, unrebutted statements of truth, affidavits in other words, based on first-hand knowledge and signed under penalty of perjury. So if you write an affidavit and you say it's a statement of truth and you say the information is true, certain and correct, and it's being written under penalty of perjury, that puts you in exactly the same position as if you were in the witness box in a court of law, having sworn on oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if you then write down the truth from your first-hand knowledge, that makes the common law. And there is a way of doing that such that that happens. That is assuming, by the way, that what you write is the truth, in which case it cannot be rebutted. However, there are shades of grey in everything. So what you do is you write it down, you send it to whoever you're accusing, you give them 30 days to rebut what you've said. And if they write back to you saying, with their own statement of truth, by the way, rebutting what you've said, then it's like stalemate. But if you've written down the truth and you really have accused them of some wrong that they've done to you, then they can't rebut it truthfully. So you have now got a common law, what we call lien, or you can create a lien on them. You see, the way it works is there's only one truth in any given situation. There are not two truths.